Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/beat and browse an unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/BEAT.
And I see the robin.
I'm just searching for equality, looking for some reason, no violence, no apologies. But I do want opportunity, hard work, it ain't new to me.
Hey, it's your girl Rach Da Gem, back for another week of Melanin Blvd. This is episode 2 in season 3, and I have a special guest, and guess what? It is the first day that I am incorporating my visuals, so you'll be able to catch Melanin Blvd visuals on YouTube, and so you get to catch this face, see? Every week from now on, and you get to hear my voice, see? Every week from now on. So I have a special guest this week. Her name is Nicky. Hey, Nicky girl.
Hey, Nick. Hey, Rachel.
Hey. Rach Da Gem.
Hey, Rach Da Gem. Hey, Rach Da Gem.
She knows me by my real name because she met me while I was working. Yeah. And I was an actual regular human being. So thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah, we talked about it. We got to make things happen. Yes. I don't like to just say, come on the show and then you don't come.
It's the beginning of the year. And you proved yourself to be right.
Of course.
2020, we starting out with a bang.
Absolutely. So, Nicky, before we get into the couple little topics I want to talk about, just let everybody know what you do.
Right. Okay. So I'm Nicky, Nicky Savory Travels. That's NICKY''S. Savory Travels. I'm a food and travel blogger. So it's where savory foods and travel adventures intertwine into one. I've been to 25 countries so far, 47 states and 6 continents and counting. And so I like to basically document my blogs on my website, YouTube, other social media outlets, let people know. I like to educate. It's not about just taking pictures and videos. And I like to learn a lot about arts and culture and other people and foods, of course.
Nice. 2 things that I love, food and traveling. So that we incorporate both of those things is amazing. I like your job.
Well, thank you.
Let me think. Much. Do I need to switch professions or not? You need somebody roll with you?
We need Rach Da Gem. We need Rach Da Gem here in the Valley. We good. But so you roll with me.
Yeah, we might have to roll out because I do like to eat. Yeah. So before we get into really what we came here to talk about, which is what you do and kind of a few topics, I wanted to talk about 2020, right? I'm leveling up this year. That is goal. And I'm just mad that I didn't level up in time to get Beyonce's delivery from the Ivy Park line. Did you see that box that was being delivered?
Oh, yeah. I had heard about it.
It's bomb.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Don't be dropping off packages. Next time.
Next
season, Beyonce, I'm going to be ready.
There you go.
I'm going to send you my address. I'm just going to put it under all your pictures.
That's it. But you still, regardless, you leveling up. So.
Yep, we're going to level up. I want to level up so I can get some free stuff. I've already actually, what's crazy is I try to manifest certain things, and when I say things and then they happen, I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to get to the point where companies just like sponsor things or they give me free stuff. And it's kind of been happening. Like I'll do stuff and businesses will be like, well, here, you can have this. I'm like, for real? I'll take it.
But that's what's up. There's power in life and death in the tongue. I always say you got to be able to manifest what you want. So right. I feel like I'm on that same level with you. Yeah.
Yep. All 2020, I want free stuff. I want Beyonce Ivy Park to be dropping off packages to my house. Unboxing, I'm going to do it live. So I just thought that was real dope because the girl that's on Blackish and Grownish, her name, because I'm bad.
Yara Shahidi?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yara.
Yeah.
She did the unboxing. That's the first one I saw. I was like, say you swear. The whole line, though.
I saw her on IG. Yep.
I was so mad, so happy.
Yep.
I was like, she's doing the damn thing.
She was.
It's awesome. It's amazing. I do love Beyonce because of like the little things that she does like that. And she gives it to the people that matter.
That's right.
And I love it.
Yep.
Bad Boys is out today. Is that a movie that you're going to check out?
I've already seen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you can't talk about it because the team already talked about how they can't talk about certain things. Well,
I'm not going to spoil it, but I've seen it.
In that case,
I'm not going to spoil it.
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I would say thumbs up.
Okay.
I would say thumbs up. I would say this probably should be, last go, but definitely thumbs up. Now, I can't hate on my boys, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
The 4th one is already in the making. And I'm not happy about it because I'm seeing the third one today, and I feel like we've had enough already. I haven't even seen it.
Yeah.
We've had enough. We get it.
We get it.
This should be like the closing out.
That's it.
You know,
Yeah.
they're retiring. I don't know.
That's it.
Something.
I mean, yeah.
We don't need a fourth one.
No, we can use our imaginations, and some things are better left unsaid.
Right. Leave it alone.
It's good entertainment, though.
And so I was just on my radio show a few hours ago, and I loved Bad Boys 2. Actually, better than the first one.
Same here.
Because, like, the soundtrack was popping.
It was, yep.
And I'm like, if I don't hear Nelly's song at the opening of this one, I'm walking out. I'm going to walk out.
I'm not
going to walk out because I paid for my ticket. I'm going to sit there, but I'm going to sit there in a little bit of disappointment waiting on the soundtrack to drop. Like, during that time, soundtracks really moved movies.
Oh, most definitely.
All about the Benjamins.
Definitely.
You know, Bad Boys, like those soundtracks were everything. They went right along with the movie.
And, you know, to this day, those songs, some of those soundtracks are still on my playlist.
Yeah. Blue Streak had a bomb soundtrack.
Yes.
Jay-Z had a song on there. Yeah, I live for a good soundtrack to a movie. Like, that's what I love.
Definitely.
But I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. I'm not going to lie. I don't want there to be a fourth one. We good. We're good.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. So again, if you're listening, well, when you're listening next Thursday, I'm going to be going live the whole movie on my Instagram. And if you want to, I'm just playing, I'm not. It's like
man, she really
like a new age bootleg, like members only page.
Right.
You pay me, you can go ahead and go on my story and see this whole movie right now.
Right.
I mean, popcorn, like, what is popcorn? Good. So that was the two things that I kind of wanted to talk about, Beyonce, and I want to talk about the movie, which I'm super excited to see.
Yep.
How do you feel about all these reboots? And I kind of ask each person because we keep getting more and more reboots.
Yep.
And I'm just like, stop it.
You know, I'm right there along with you. You know, Rach Da Gem, Hollywood, stop it. Seriously, just put, you know, just stop it. No more posts whatsoever. Some things are better left unsaid. My whole take is if you haven't done a reboot within the first 10 years, let it go. Let it go. Obviously, there's not enough ideas out there. And I'm not throwing any salt to anybody, any director, producer that's out there. You know who you are. You doing your thing. But obviously, there's not enough ideas out there to go around that people got to feel like they got to put a reboot on everything. And then some people, they see, well, oh, they did a reboot on this genre. Maybe let's do it here.
Yes. So Coming to America. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. I'm not looking forward to that reboot. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually more excited about Bad Boys versus Coming to America.
Yeah.
It seems like the characters that they have, it seems like it's going to be like a stupid comedy.
I feel like this. I got love for a lot of the actors that's going to be in Coming to America Part 2, but I feel like it's straight up overload.
Yeah,
like you said,
it's too much
of like comedians, and it's just you got all these powerful comedians that's going to be basically in one screen or whatever the case is, and it could. I mean, we got to see. Just wait and see how the writing is, the direction is. Take it for what it is. But that's a perfect example. No, not throwing any salt on Eddie Murphy or any of the cast. Just the fact that. How many decades?
It's been a minute.
I mean, I'm 44
like
now. Almost 44 now. Come on now. So it's like...
Was it the 80s? It was like 80s, right?
I feel like it was either...
Early 90s or late 80s.
Yeah, like late 80s, early 90s, one of those. And here we are in 2020.
Yeah.
So why did it take this long?
I just don't want to see the buffoonery.
No.
I don't want to see my people being buffoons and the whole... Like, I don't want to see it. I'm not here for that.
Right.
On this show a few weeks ago, we had a talent agency, and they do screenwriting. And the fact that they're not giving the people that have original ideas a chance, that's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, they keep trying to, like, what do they say? Reinvent the wheel, right? Yeah. But we also need some new ideas. But you can't keep beating the same horse. Like, we don't need to see all these Fast and the Furious. Like, I stopped at 2. Yeah. I didn't see all the other ones.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I saw all the Fast and Furious with Paul Walker in it because I was just a fan, you know. And of course, when found out that he, passed away, just like most of his fans, I took that hard. I liked him. I had a crush on him forever. So,
that's why I wasn't just here for it.
Yeah,
he was cool.
Yeah, but to your point, yeah, because now they got with The Rock, what's it, Cobbs and
Cobbs and Shaw.
Cobbs and Shaw. So it's like a spinoff from, Fast and Furious. So it's like, okay, at what point do we say enough is enough? I get it. Actors need to be paid, whatever the case is. A lot of them are going to oblige and they're going to do it because at the end of the day, they're still going to get paid.
They're still going to get paid.
But I'm with you right along with it. Let us put our people in a good light, and let's stop with the buffoonery.
Yeah, I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Issa Rae's doing a great job out there creating content that is original. Although she might be involved in the Set It Off reboot, she also does create a lot. She has 2 movies that are coming out that she's starring in. So she's giving us some content that is unique and original, which I appreciate. But I'm not really here for the reboots. Our kids gonna think like this is the first one, and it's not.
Right.
My daughter thinks the second one was the first one. I was like, no.
And of course, we gotta school them. And
what have I done?
Back.
I'm failing as a mother.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
That's how I feel. Like, no, boo. You got to see the first one.
Exactly. So that you can understand how it came full circle.
Right. So yeah. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. It's released today, so I think I can talk about it after today.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
I'm not going to do a spoiler alert.
But this don't come out till next Thursday, but don't spoil it, girl.
I'm not. Not at all.
So as we kind of talked about before, you are a food and travel blogger. And so the name of your blog is?
Nicky's Savory Travels.
How did you begin doing this in the first place?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I've been traveling for about 20 plus years. And a lot of people are like confused because they're like, what? 20 years? You look like you 26, 28.
Black don't crack?
Black
what
don't
you thought?
crack. Black never
Unless
crack.
you smoke it.
There you go. Just know it. Yeah, I'll be 44 this year. So thank God for that. But nonetheless, a few years back, because I'm from Chicago, originally from Chicago, born and raised. My husband and I moved out here to Vegas for his job, for his work. And so it was presented to me like, man, you should start blogging because you always posting these pictures on Facebook, these beautiful pictures of all your travels. And I have a writing background from like high school. I've done some journalism here and there, things like that in college. So I thought about it. I was like, yeah, I need to go ahead and start breaking into it.
Okay.
And for 2.5, now it's going into the 3rd year, 3 years later, I'm still blogging, doing videos.
Nice.
Had a couple of partnerships already. Been in an online magazine, doing a live, podcast with Rach Da Gem. Yeah.
Just a little something.
A little something. And working on a couple other projects.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you first started your blog, people are very easily discouraged, and so especially in our industries, it's along the same lines where we're creating content and we want people to view, read, watch, whatever. How did you keep that going? How did you keep it going so that you didn't give up?
So that's a great question. To this day, I still don't feel like I have the answer because sometimes I do get discouraged. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I get discouraged. I'm human just like the next person. And I want, sometimes I think, well, did my blog post, did it get enough, reviews or comments? Listen, we live in a world at this age that technology is everything. Yeah. And let's just call a thing. Basically, if content, a video, whatever the case is, written content, video content cannot basically hold the eyes for 5 seconds or more, then you have lost your viewers. Simple as that. You have to be able to, be as creative as possible, find different unique ways, set yourself apart because, with blogging too, it is overly saturated, but, versus 20 years ago. Yeah. So given the fact that it is, there's a lot of people that's on the rise now, even more than it was before. Yeah. So for me, I feel it in my heart of hearts and it's my passion to do it. I'm not competing with anyone out there that's already there. I'm tied and connected to a lot of well-known bloggers, people that I've met in the industry, in conferences, face-to-face, in person, that I really respect, So I'm not threatened by anything that they do. I focus on what Nicki got to do. Right. And my thing is, I was just telling somebody this the other day, everybody has their own space in their industry. Yeah. And there's enough room for all of us. You just have to know how to set yourself apart. Right. So my content is going to relate to who it needs to relate to. I don't need to worry about any numbers, how many followers I have. I don't need to worry about any likes or whatever the case is. If it's meant and people want to work with me and partner up with me because they see something in my content, it's going to happen.
Right.
So I just keep myself going. Vision boards. Vision boards are big every year. Speaking things into existence, being positive, surrounding yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah, that's important.
Yes, because you got those Debbie Downers, and then let's talk about it. You got your haters.
You do.
You got your haters out there. And, you know, for me, my haters, they give me the drive. They give me the drive in everything to push even further because I'm like, dang, am I that much of a threat to you?
That you gotta take time out of your day to hate on me.
Man, how much energy you
What are we
using
doing?
on me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I look at that and I'm like, I take that as a compliment. I don't take that as, oh man, you know, this person don't like me. I can give
Yeah,
you know
two
what?
shits.
Yeah, rat's ass about who likes me and who don't.
Yeah.
That's the most liberating thing about being in your 40s too. You just don't care. So I'm out there to do what I need to do for me to relate to those people. I feel it within myself that I've been used in this capacity, this platform, to be able to go out there, educate people, not take pictures and videos just to be in vain, but to tell a story, connect people that basically don't know, but they go off of hearsay like, I don't know if I should travel here because I heard.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I don't do. I don't go off of hearsay.
You go for yourself.
I go for myself.
Yeah. And I love that. One thing about, you know, staying consistent with your craft is, for me, all it takes is just like a little bit. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yep.
One person like it because it's 10 people behind them that's not even interacting, that's watching. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's how I look at it. Like when I introduced season 3 again, I'm like, all right, I've been out for a few weeks. I really didn't make an announcement. I was just like, last episode and Christmas happened. And, you know, all these things happen. I'm like, okay, now we coming back. And so people were actually excited. Like, oh, I was just looking for the episode. I was like, oh, shoot. That's what's up. So it doesn't really like, it's just like baby steps for me.
Right.
Like, okay, that's one person. Maybe next time it's 10. Maybe next time it's 100, you know? So that's just how I look at it. As far as the locations that you visited, because you talked about how there's some locations that are like, have maybe reputations, because I see in these Facebook groups, it's like Black travel Facebook groups, and they're talking about, what if I travel to this place? Are they racist? Do they like Black people? And all these things, right? So that is something that is, you know, especially traveling alone, that's a concern, right?
Yeah.
So what have you experienced when you've gone to maybe some of those places? Like I've seen people say Russia. I've seen people say, you know, the Middle East. So
Middle East is definitely on my radar. I have not been there yet. I do know some people, and I actually know one person is there right now. I know a Black travel blogger, Black male travel blogger. He actually went to Russia. I got a lot of his content, read through it and everything, and he went solo. Got a lot of respect for him because, you know, he talked about his experience. He went to Ukraine as well. And just by me referencing those two locations, I think, you know, he knows that I'm talking about him. But nonetheless, for me, last year in 2019, I went to Poland and Austria by myself.
What's there? That's what I want to know.
I'm gonna tell you. So first of all, people was like, okay, I'm going to let you know how I went to Poland. I went to Poland for a couple of reasons. One, it was at the bottom of my bucket list. And I had challenged myself in early 2019 to actually go somewhere that was at the bottom of my bucket list. And I had to ask myself, why is it at the bottom of my bucket list? You know, why is it like the least interest? I need to pull it to the top.
Because you don't know anything about it.
I mean, I can research, you know, or whatever the case is. But then also found out that my grandmother had a coworker that she worked with back in the day. They were nurses. They retired. And her family was still in Poland. Okay. And they've been friends for like 40-something years.
Wow.
You know? I mean, that's love right there within itself. And I've heard her talk about this woman in her household. And so I was like, okay, well, at least I know somebody on the back end. I decided to go and find out for myself. So I went to Poland. I was in Krakow. And Krakow is known for their technology and their beautiful architecture that they have. Wow. So I went to go see like the royal castle and some of those notable landmarks. But in addition to that, I went to Birkenau, Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camps. Oh, so wow. There was like, that's where history that we're talking about, the Nazis, that is where Holocaust was. located right there in Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camps. And for me to actually go there, and it was something already eerie about the day that I went. It was all dismal and just had like a weird vibe to it. But the closer and closer we got, it was just like solemn everywhere that you went. And I had to kind of put myself in the shoes of all of those men, those women, those children that lost their lives.
Yeah.
And because as we're talking about concentration camp, it just kind of hit so close to home because our people have gone through oppression.
Right.
Any ancestry that has gone through some form of oppression, I am going to connect some form of fashion. Just because personally for me, I don't believe in just learning about my culture.
Right.
Yes, it's very important for me to know about me as an African American, as an African descendant or whatever the case is, like my ancestors, to know where I came from and to connect, but also to know about other cultures, because I feel like to a degree we all connect in some form of fashion.
Yeah.
Full circle. So when I went, I was crying like all day. I was a hot mess. I blogged about it. It just was a day that was so draining for me. I spent all day. I had signed up for a travel excursion through Viator. So I booked it. They picked me up from my hotel. It was about an hour drive out. It was probably about 6 of us in the van. And then when we got to the concentration camps, there was other tours there. And so then just being there, seeing so much history, everything that I read about in high school and college, it just hits home. It's always so surreal when you read about something in a book like the Great Wall in China,
and then you actually get to see it.
So when I was in in China, went to the Great Wall in Beijing, I'm like, dang, I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here taking pictures of the pictures that I was looking at when I was in high school and college.
Right.
And then on top of that, going back to Poland, I went to the Wałęsa salt mine. That's underground. It's over 1,000 stairs. That's underground. And it's not for the faint of heart. So if you are claustrophobic, it's definitely not for you.
Yeah, nah.
But that's where the salt mines were. And they still have a functioning salt mine down there. And they got a restaurant.
Down in the
salt mine with some good ass lasagna. Let me tell you.
I like lasagna.
Me too, because I could make a really good turkey spinach lasagna. I'm just saying, but
so you got to walk down 1,000 steps.
1,000 steps
Toward the salt mine.
Yes.
And then there's the restaurant.
There's a restaurant. They have down there, they have, you can definitely inhale some of the salt or whatever the case is. You can see the salt. You can touch the salt. They have a room that's, it's kind of like crystals. They have like a display area. I got a chance, me and a couple of other tourists got a chance to kind of like rock back and forth, when you were like kind of pushing, like when they have like the horses and everything like that. And that was some hard ass work just to be able to push, to go around.
Like on the tracks.
On the tracks, yeah. Yeah, just go back and forth to do that. We did that a couple of times and I was tired. I broke out
Where's
of sweat.
the lasagna?
Yeah, where's the lasagna?
I want my piece.
So at the end of the tunnel, basically they got the restaurant, they got the gift shops, but you can sit down, order what you want. They got lasagna, they got soup, everything. Food was so good. I met up with some other tourists. Like I said, I was there by myself. I was having a good time. That was my lunch and dinner. And then made some purchases at the gift shop there, and then
so they have like a whole little setup down there. Wow.
Yes, but the only thing is you cannot be claustrophobic, and literally if you are not in the best of shape, it's recommended that you definitely start walking or starting to stretch those
Knowing
muscles.
That you're gonna come out
exactly, because at that time I had been doing a little workout and my thighs were throbbing a little bit and shaking. But you go down the stairs and you just take your time going down there. But you got people right in back of you and you right in front of people. Yeah, I would think I was like one of the first 2 or 3 people in the beginning. So I kept a good pace.
Right?
You know what? No, they got lights. It's lit up.
Okay.
It is lit up. Certain areas is dark, but they got it well lit to the point people are not like tripping or anything. They don't want any type of liability.
Of course. Right.
Yeah.
We don't want to own the salt mine, do we?
No, we don't. I mean,
I could,
but not under those circumstances.
So I want to touch on, those are the places there's a couple places that you went where our people aren't necessarily just going, and you're going to bring awareness to these locations that, it's one, that's a place that you can learn from.
Yep. 2,
a place that you can relate to, because we grew up learning about the Holocaust and have actually going there and experiencing that, you kind of leave a piece of yourself there because that's emotional.
Definitely. Most definitely.
For other humans, like, human to human.
Exactly. And I want to touch point on that a little bit more just to let you know that I was received very well. I mean, people were open and receptive to me from the time that after I went through immigration, because I had left my perfume. I bought some perfume when I was in London connecting an expensive bottle of perfume.
Did you lose it?
I did not lose it.
Oh, okay.
But that I was trying to make sure that they found it. I knew where it was. It was under my seat. Forgot I had it there. And because I was going from London to Krakow. And so they did not have anybody board that plane until I got my perfume back. And they worked so well together. They liked me. And I was like, Dzień dobry, I was like, hello. So they was like, oh, this girl, she's kind of trying to speak some Polish. They respect you when you try to step up and speak their language too.
Right.
And everybody showed me some love. So when I was in Poland, I went to the concentration camps. I saw maybe 2 or 3 other Black people. And, we kind of did the head nod from across because we were in different groups, which, that's good enough for me just to acknowledge.
Yeah.
But I remember distinctly going to the town that my grandmother's friend's niece lives in. She lived hours outside of Krakow. It was a town called Wadowice. It's actually the hometown of Pope John Paul II. And you have to take a bus there, which is their mini Mercedes-Benz minivan.
Okay.
And I went to the train station, so I'm already sticking out. I got all this hair and everything, and I got this makeup. So they where is Black girl going? And I'm going an hour outside, on the countryside. So before you know it, people, they making stops and everything. We getting further and further away from the city. And at the little stops in the country, on the countryside, people coming on the bus looking okay. They doing double takes where's she going? She lost? And bus driver, he ain't saying nothing. As long as you paid, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So they get on, they sitting down. And I would say what I personally visually observe is that the younger generation, more or less, they didn't really, look at me twice. They didn't gawk or anything or stare. I didn't feel uncomfortable. I didn't feel I wasn't welcome on the bus or whatever. I would say with the older generation, because, we're talking about a time that, they did not see a lot of diversity.
No internet.
No internet, yeah. Exactly. And so I do recall distinctly one time there was an older woman that came on that van, and she looked at me and she just looked like, what are you? Not who are you? What are you? Oh. And she was just sitting there, and she sat across from me, and I'm just looking I function just like you. I kind of mess with people sometimes. But then there was a younger Polish woman that came on. She had hot pink hair. I'll never forget this. Hot pink hair, purple hair. She came on. She saw me. She did a double take. And the girl gave me a head nod. The universal head nod. What's up? And smiled at me, and I smiled back. And you could tell the only thing that was deterring us both from really talking and interacting was a language barrier. I couldn't really speak full Polish, and I don't think she could speak full English, but she was smiling. And when she was getting off, she actually waved at me I would bring you to my town. So I'm pretty sure I was the talk of the town. That day.
There was this Black lady on the bus.
Right,
going all up and down. We don't know where she was going.
I'm in the countryside.
I love that. So as far as the other countries, what would be your favorite country that you would choose that isn't as popular of a location?
Oh, isn't as popular. I feel now these days, everybody's going to all the different destinations. One of my favorites is Australia, but that's a popular destination. Singapore. Singapore is a very clean country. I love the Singaporean noodles over there. It's just all good. The people, the culture is really very diverse. You got people that's from India, Sri Lanka, very diverse parts coming from India. Sweltering heat, of course.
It's hot?
It is hot. South of the
I don't know why I felt like Singapore was cold.
Oh, no.
It's hot in Singapore.
No, Rach Da Gem. No, you got, girl. No, we need to go to Singapore together.
Yeah.
No, I went in December, I remember, because, no, I didn't go in December. I take that back. In August. I went in August for my birthday when I was living in Japan. And, of course, August is the hottest month of the year. And it was, I want to say about 111 degrees Fahrenheit.
You just went home to Vegas.
I know, right?
Like,
but you know what? On top of that, they had the humidity too.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I was dying over there a little bit, but I mean, I felt like I lost about 5 pounds just from sweating.
Give or take, right?
take.
You know, you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, you got to take the good with the bad. But Australia, Singapore, Fiji. Fiji is one of my favorites. I don't know how popular it is. I mean, I know like the French Polynesian, islands, is on the list, but I went to Fiji and Australia together in the same trip and went to Castaway Island, not too far from where Castaway, the movie, was filmed with Tom Hanks. And I would say that probably was like one of my favorite countries to visit. I'm going to say Austria too.
Austria?
For this architecture. So when I went to Poland, that was about 45 minutes out. So that was like a weekend trip. Like you would go down to LA
and come back.
Yep. So a lot of people do that. But the architecture there is phenomenal. The food, I'm not going to even say it's underrated. I just don't feel like I know a lot of people that goes to Austria.
To eat the food.
Yeah, the food is delicious. Yeah.
So outside of just visiting the place, learning about their history, their art, architecture, and eating, do you do anything else? Are you jumping off anything? Like, what's going on?
Oh man.
Anything adventurous?
So yeah, I used to be adventurous, and I say used to because I used to ice skate. I was ice skating in college for a class. I used to climb mountains. When I lived in Japan, I climbed Mount Fuji.
Okay.
At night.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
There's animals out there?
No, you good. Ain't no animals. You funny. No, but I climbed Mount Fuji at night.
Why at night?
Because it was they offered night tours because we wanted to also get there before the sun rose.
Okay, to see the
sunset. Yeah, to see the sun, to see the sunrise, right? And so we had to leave at a certain time in the evening, and they have different stations at different levels on the mountains, which means if you get tired, if you're sleepy, if you need to replenish yourself with some tea or whatever the case is, or some snacks, you can do that and rest.
Okay.
So I climbed there at night, and I remember sleeping at, I think it was probably the 4th or 5th station. And I went with a group of people, a group of teachers that I knew because I taught English as a second language in Japan. And girl, I was like one of them thickums. I wasn't exercising. So that was like, my body went through a state of culture shock with it.
Yeah. So was it snowing up there?
It wasn't snowing. The time that we went was in July. So it was still warm in the city, but when you go to the mountains, of course it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was chilly. I had a long sleeve jacket, gym shoes, track pants, things like that, performance pants. So I was good. I made it to the level before the top of Mount Fuji. So I didn't make it quite to the top, but I still was there to see the sun rise. I got like an old picture of me and got my stick showing that I'm at the top of Mount Fuji. So when I lived in Japan, I actually climbed several mountains, did that. But you're not going to see me jumping off or anything like bungee jumping. Because you know what? For me at least, I know it's people like my age is doing it now, but I feel like my bones are just not trying to have it. I had a ski accident and I used to ski. So I had 2 torn meniscus and a hyperextended knee. So my knee bent backwards beyond the range of motion. Had surgery. And now I'm just trying to hold on to my knees as much as I can. So yeah, I live vicariously through other people. You might see me do some other adventurous things down the line. I call it adventurous. When I was in Australia, I did snorkel in the Great Barrier Reef. That's a landmark within itself. Yeah. There was nurse and reef sharks. That was adventurous as hell because it was sharks that was like swimming around me, even though they're docile.
I don't know what that means.
They friendly. They're not gonna come up on you.
That's an oxymoron. I'm saying.
It is. I'm not, but you know what? My husband is a shark lover, so I used to spend some time on National Geographic, and we would learn a lot about the different sharks.
I like Shark Week too. There's what down there?
There's what down there?
Yeah, let me put my camera down there.
What'd you say? You just don't want to be on How I Survived?
I don't want to tell that story. Like, I'm good.
Yeah. I've done some jet skiing, in Mexico. which was fun because, I can't swim either. So that's another oxymoron. I was sitting up here snorkeling at the Great Barrier Reef
So
in
you're
Australia.
snorkeling, but you can't swim.
I can't swim. So I had a life jacket. My husband, who can swim like a fish. But I felt like you only live once. There's some other things that I would like to do, but mainly I think, I'm just going to stick to just doing the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So let's talk about you living in Japan.
Yeah.
I love Japan. Like, I've never been, but I want to go.
Okay.
Because I love their culture. I love how they have their little style. It's real cute.
Yeah.
So how did you, because you were a teacher.
Yeah, so basically I was in Chicago, I was in Chicago finishing up my master's degree back in 2001. And that was the same year I had first went overseas to Europe. So I went to Germany, France, Switzerland, and the Netherlands.
Okay.
And had a wonderful time. So I'm finishing up my master's degree, and I had been working in corporate America already. Was working in human resources, HR. And I remember my mom slipped me a newspaper, and she didn't even say anything. She just passed the newspaper, and I looked, and it said the Embassy of Japan had the opportunity for you to teach English. And she kind of looked to see what I was going to do, how I was going to react.
Go, girl.
Like, here you go. I'm just going to pass this on to see what you do with it. And so I applied, had like a 2 weeks left, I think, on the time, the deadline to apply. Got all the paperwork, went through the interview process, and they accepted me along with 149 other teachers from Chicago. And we was on a plane going to Tokyo for a 3-day orientation.
Wow.
Oh, man. Living it up and meeting people from all over the country. We went out. They had hip-hop clubs.
Japan?
In Japan, yes.
I mean, because they love our culture.
They do. So I'm in Tokyo, and the nightlife is off the chain. I mean, it's like New York to the fifth power as far as I'm personally concerned.
I love the pictures because it looks like it has that feel, that New York feel with a Las Vegas flair, with all the lights,
the jumbotrons, everything. So they got an area that's called Shinjuku, where they got a lot of hip hop clubs. And then I moved down. I lived in the suburb of Osaka. Osaka's twin city is actually Chicago. That's kind of funny because I'm from there, and they have hip hop clubs there too. So I moved there. I was there. I had my salary. We got paid monthly. Had my own apartment. I lived in high rise. There was a handful of teachers in the town that I was in. Paid for my own bills, utilities. They treated you like an adult. Took the train to go to work. I taught ages 12 through 15. Junior high school. I taught at 2 or 3 schools. And I actually stayed for 2 years because the contract, I renewed it. It was a 1-year contract, and I renewed it because I wanted to stay a second year. So I was there from 2001 to 2003, and I had a phenomenal experience. The teachers that I work with, the principal, vice principal, my mom came to visit. When she saw I was okay, we had a good time.
That's good. That's always a country I wanted to visit.
Yeah.
I plan on putting it on the list.
Put it on the list for 2020.
It's on the list.
Manifest.
So one thing I do want to talk about is that you are married and you do travel alone. So how does that work in your life?
Yeah. So I don't know if a lot of people believe me or not, but I get asked that question often. My husband and I, we've been married. It'll be 13 years on St. Patrick's Day. And before when he proposed to me, I actually, before I said yes, wanted to make sure that he was not going to take travel out of our marriage. I told him that was my first love, and now you're trying to be my first love. So I got to put travel on the side. When I found out that he accepted it, then I was cool with it. But honestly, and we had several discussions about this, it wasn't until about 5 years ago that he really actually accepted me traveling by myself, even though I had been doing it. I had no idea that it had bothered him, even though he would say, that it's all good or whatever the case was. He wasn't okay with it. I mean, his words was like, how come she just can't sit her ass down? Why she got to always be
That's what you've been doing.
I've been doing it, since literally I was a teenager. First trip I took by myself was 14 to Arkansas for a church conference. Convinced my mom to let me stay with, do a homestay with a family, and a host family. And I was there. So I've always, craved for that independence, level of independence. But literally, there's some destinations he likes to go to, like he likes water-based destinations. So we did Fiji and Australia 1 year for our anniversary. But other destinations he didn't have any desire. 2018, I went to Spain, Morocco. He had no desire to go there. I went by myself. Yeah, I found the ticket on Norwegian Air for $272 round trip.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I found that promotion. I had asked if he wanted to go. He said, Spain isn't my cup of tea. So I said, well, it's my cup of tea.
Okay.
I'm about to book this.
You see this ticket price, right? You sure you don't want to
because, if you really think about it, here we are in Vegas. To go to New York City alone, just from the west to the east coast or vice versa, is going to cost you about $300 or more round
if you're
trip.
lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
So I could not sit on that. I had studied, a little Spanish in high school and college.
Yeah.
So, last year I did Poland, Austria, Ecuador, Mexico City, all by myself.
Nice.
You hear all about Mexico City and the gangs, the crime.
Yeah.
I'm like, my feathers are not ruffled. I come from the Chi, from Chi-town. So tell me something else. But what they don't know is that they have a really great culinary mecca there. Some of the top chefs in Mexico City. So he's learned to transition into it. And I told him, I said, what made you actually open up to me accepting the fact that I can travel by myself and it wouldn't bother you? He said, I remember there was one trip you came back from and I saw how refreshed you were. And I said, this is what she need. It's like he had an epiphany.
Yeah.
So I need that time to reset. Not trying to like break up no households or anything, but I always say if you married, you in a relationship, yes, you're in a relationship, you're together, but you need your individual time.
You do.
Everybody. I've never been a clingy wife. Never. And I'm not knocking anybody who does it, but I'm an individual, and I was an individual before I got married. And you know what? I was born in this world alone. I'm going to die in this world alone. I'm going to die by myself. My thing is that I am an individual. He's an individual. We have different similarities. We have differences. We have similarities. And we have to have a balance. We have to know how to come together and know when we need to reset. He has to mentally reset.
Right.
And so, it's not like I'm trying to take his video games from him.
Yeah.
So
keep your PlayStation.
Right. Keep your PlayStation. Keep your Xbox
trip.
360. Right. I'm about to go on this trip and do what I got to do.
Yeah. I actually, when I was in high school, I had this dean, and I don't know, he used to just be talking. He's an old black man. He just be telling us all about his life. And so one thing he did say that I always remember was that him and his wife had been together for all these years, and they had their trips together. They had their trips separate.
Yeah.
And then that's okay. You don't got to be with this person 24/7.
Exactly.
I need my quiet time.
Hello.
Oh my gosh.
Hello.
When nobody has to talk. So I just started traveling alone because I'm scary. Okay. You're going to have to go back and listen to an episode. I got trampled on my first alone trip. I'm not going nowhere. But I was like, okay, I'm going to go. So, but I really just started traveling alone. And what I love about traveling by myself is being in the airport and not having to talk to anybody. Nobody knows me. Leave me alone. I got my earbuds in and I can just zone out. Like, that is the most precious time that if I can just go to the airport, I don't necessarily have to go anywhere, but like the airport is so quiet. It's big. Like you could just find your little corner.
Yeah. And you can people watch. You can do whatever. You don't have to feel obligated to talk to people.
You don't.
I'm a bubbly, outgoing social person. I really am. But you know what? I'm an ambivert. That's what I am. I'm a little bit of both, introverted and extroverted ways. But I do get in my moods. Sometimes when I'm in the airport, I want to go by myself. I want to travel. It's nothing against anybody.
Yeah.
I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to have quiet time. I want to be able to learn, from other people. But there's other times that, I'm like, I don't mind traveling with people. And I've traveled with some, friends, but it's like every blue moon. But I'm also not that type of person to travel with a lot of people because I just can't do drama.
Yeah.
I cannot.
It's always it's always like one person that's like gotta be
they're just
I don't like this type of mustard.
Right. Or what time we waking up for breakfast that you say it's 7 to 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
Why we gotta go here?
You don't have to. I know I'm gonna be.
Right.
I like breakfast.
Well,
I never,
Yeah, you gotta deal with a lot of different personalities, and you really truly gotta know the people in your circle, in your group that you're traveling with. If you don't travel with,
you never know what you're dealing with until you travel with somebody.
And I hate to say it, sometimes people come back not friends because they learn some things that they didn't know. Yeah. So I always tell people, tread lightly, and if you do need to travel with somebody, if you know that person is cool. If you don't, and you just doing it for the heck of it, then watch your steps. I just posted something on my travel page this week. It was saying something about if you got a friend that is not my friend that spoils the trip, then you are responsible for that friend.
Yeah. Get your friend.
Right. Get your friend.
Yeah.
Don't be spoiling my trip or the rest of the people's trip. I ain't trying to have it. So I told them if I ever try to plan like do a group trip, that don't bring that madness this way.
Yeah, I think it's like, listen, these are the things that are available. If you want to go. If you don't. But I'm still an individual. I know what I'm going to do.
Yep.
I think it would have to be presented that way. I don't like being around a lot of people. Mm-hmm. I like being in the airport in myself, tucked away. Don't talk to me. Leave me alone. How much talking I got to do? Have children. They talk all the time. Shut up. Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk. But that's just how I am. And that's why when I first went on my little trip by myself, because I've flown different places, but really to go somewhere, like I want to go here because this is there.
Right.
That's what I'm starting to do. And I'm like, oh, this is the best thing ever. Like, yeah, it's the best. I don't want to travel with nobody. No, you ain't gotta come. you ain't gotta come. I'm good. Like,
I'm good.
I'll meet you there. But I need my quiet time. Like that's just like the most peaceful time that I've had in my life. So I crave that now.
Right.
Like I'm like, all right, I need to go somewhere. And so one thing I want to talk about is you said SARS is coming back, or it's back. SARS,
yes. So SARS, for those who may not be familiar, SARS is the severe acute respiratory syndrome. So interesting story is that SARS had first broke out in 2002 in China. Guess what? I was traveling through China with some friends at that time from Japan. We had went to Hong Kong, Macau, Shanghai, and Beijing. And when we flew into Hong Kong at that time, and they were talking about SARS, because I remember Colin Powell at that time, he was talking about it a little bit. So we were looking like, okay, no big deal, whatever the case was. By the time we had traveled from Hong Kong going north all the way up to Beijing and back through the train, when we got back to Hong Kong, everybody was wearing a mask on their face. Everybody. Freaked me the hell out. I was scared as hell. And my mom had sent me an email prior to that and said, hey, they talking about SARS, so hope you're not going to China. And at that time, I didn't even respond because I didn't want to worry her, but I was in China. Like, whoops, sorry, Mom, I'm here. And so now, interesting enough, here we are, 2020, and there hasn't been actually any type of thing that's broken out with SARS since 2004. Now it came back. And so it's actually, in Japan. So there's like, some findings in Japan that SARS is now back. And that's a little bit scary too, I'm actually going to be traveling overseas in March. And I got a long layover in Shanghai, China, but I'm going to the Maldives, and that's my final destination. So I'm just a little bit, shaken up right now.
I don't like germs.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm an extreme germaphobe.
Yeah.
My ass will wrap myself in plastic. I'll be in saran wrap and whatever I got to do.
Yeah, I hear you.
I just...
Yeah.
But you'll be okay.
Yeah, no, okay. I'll be fine.
It's always precautions and all these things.
Right.
But, things like that, we can't let it scare us, because that's what a lot of people allow to happen is, they hear about something, I'm not going there.
And most definitely, at the time I was shook up when I was actually living in China.
Yeah.
But when I came back, to the States, I didn't have anything, thank God I didn't. So, but you're so right. Absolutely right. We cannot let that, stop us. There's going to be a level of concern, of course, but there's so much that goes on. I just had somebody ask me recently, don't you be afraid to go overseas because there's so much going on? I'm like, there's so much going on here in the States. You hear about so many shootings and killings, and it's not in just like one major city. It's a lot of different cities. You hear about kidnappings, there's sex trafficking. There's so much going on in the world. You have to be careful anywhere you go.
You do.
On top of that, I tell people all the time, because they're like, I'm afraid to fly. And that's fine if you're afraid, or whatever the case is, but it's like all that flying, you can die in a plane. You can die in a car in rush hour traffic.
I have questions about flying.
Okay. What's up?
Why we gotta wear a seatbelt? Ain't been no fender bender in the sky.
Turbulence. Turbulence, girl.
I get the turbulence part, but like, it's literally nothing that you can do if it get to rocking too much.
I get you.
I just I'll put this little seatbelt on.
FAA got to have some regulations to say that we did our thing, or whatever the case is. So if anybody is trying to hold them accountable or otherwise, they are protected.
They don't have seatbelts on a bus.
They don't. It is contradictory. You know what? Actually, some buses do. coach buses and some school buses I've been on have them.
Really?
I don't think, I've actually witnessed it. More so coach buses than school buses, but it's not consistent across the board.
It's not. School buses definitely don't have.
Yeah.
And that bus driver be hitting bumps,
Yeah,
okay?
oh, you know it. Whiplash and everything be like all up in the neck.
That's just this childhood. You got to get through it.
Yeah.
But, flying for me is kind of nerve-wracking. I don't like to be next to people. if I can like buy 2 seats, that'll be great.
Rach Da Gem, you weren't playing.
No, I don't.
Introverted ways.
Yeah, and when on my last flight that I just came from, I was in the middle seat. I was so mad. I be trying to switch people like anybody. I know I wasn't talking to you, but anybody.
Look at you.
Do you want to switch? I'm good. I love the window seat.
Yeah.
I got to see outside. I need to know what's going on.
Right.
I can't do nothing about it, but I just like to see.
I can't stand the middle seat either. No.
I hate the people that get the window seat and close the window. Open the window because I want to see. Open the damn window.
You know what's funny to me is I be people watching and I be watching the people that be sitting in the aisle seat trying to dictate or tell the person in the window seat, hey, can you leave your window?
Yeah, man. Like I'm the one that's gonna have the if you trying to sleep, you better get a mask because the sun's gonna be shining through this window.
Right. Yeah.
I need the window seat. That's why I'm like, all right, I need to make sure I pay for a window seat, whatever I got to do, because that's what I like, and that's where I'm most comfortable. Because it feels like more cubby-ish, like you get to be against the wall.
If it's gonna give you that peace of mind, it's always a good idea to be able to purchase your seat like in advance, especially if you're gonna go on a long trip. You know, if you're going for like I would say 4 or 5 hours more, why not be comfortable?
Right, because listen, you gotta have that leg room.
Yeah,
you don't want to be creaking when you get up. I'm trying to get up refreshed.
Right, I don't blame you.
So let everybody know where they can find your blog and your vlogs.
Yeah, definitely. So you can definitely hit me up on www.Nicky's NICKYS travels with the S.com. So it's www.nickysavorytravels.com. 1 S in between there. I have a YouTube channel called Nicky's Savory Travels TV. Facebook is Nicky's Savory Travels. And then my Instagram is Nicky's _Savory_Travels. And my Twitter is NKY underscore. No, it's not underscore. Sorry. NKY SAVORYTRVLS.
Make sure you guys follow her and support her, and you can learn a lot from the blogs and maybe travel somewhere that you never thought you'd go.
Yeah, and I also, drop down some travel tips as well. So there's some travel tips there. I talk about the main websites you can check out for last minute holiday travel deals. I'm going to be doing more YouTube videos. I'm going to be doing some partnerships with a luxury blogger as well.
Nice.
So I'm working on a couple of projects.
Nice. Well, I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
And maybe we could take a trip together one day. Meet me in Singapore. I'll meet you there, girl.
Yeah, because I was going to say we're going to meet each other there because I already know I can't sit next to you. So.
I'm like, do you want to talk the whole time? No, I was playing.
I don't even go down like that.
I was playing. So everybody, make sure you follow Melanin Blvd, of course. Listen to the show every Thursday. Make sure you tell your friends to tell their friends, and maybe we could be friends to tune in every Thursday. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.